Hello, everyone. How are you today? I hope it's a good day for you. To start with, just a quick review. We've already gone over how to increase revenue streams and sell to adjacent markets with our GoPro case study, right? So we have real good feel for that. Today, we're going to work in new distribution channels and the sales funnel, increasing that sales funnel. So when we're looking at distribution channels, you can even have a distribution channel for a business, for a service business, not necessarily a manufacturing business. We think of distribution as a product that's being manufactured and distributed to retail outlets, right? So you would have an intermediary in between that would sell the product to or end user, right? So we think along those lines, but we can also think of making our service more readily available, finding channels that are better suited to our customer segment. So we can think in those terms as well. Now, typically, when we start our business, which is us, right? Our business, and we have our customer. And that's a good way to start. And as companies grow, they oftentimes, certainly in manufacturing, in B2B, oftentimes the producer, your business, will deal with your organizational buyer. As a business grow, there will oftentimes be a intermediary or middleman in between there. Okay. So yes, we tend to start off this way and hope to grow where we can perhaps have avenue or another segmented market that we can work with. So we do have a bit of a control dilemma when we're trying to do that. If we're growing in that direction, if you think of, like, perhaps if you are selling your product on your website directly to the retailer, if you want to sell to a wholesaler, if you want to have a wholesale product, you may be selling to someone like, say, Best Buy, for instance, here. But you're at the mercy of that salesperson with other competitive products that are available for sale. And you don't know how that salesperson will represent your product. So it is something to consider. Can your business actually afford to hire someone so that you can maintain control over your product or service? So it is a bargaining position, indeed. Now we look at the end customer preference. What are they looking for? Convenience, convenience, convenience. That's the first thing. Sometimes location to be made available to you, or how quickly can you complete the training and installation and the speed of that. And of course, price is a consideration. We may be willing to extend the time slightly if we have a better price, although sometimes we're not elastic in our price. We're inelastic. Instead, we are willing to pay more for convenience. And that is often the case, but not always, right? So we need to decide who our customer segment will be and look at that customer segment very carefully so that we know how elastic or inelastic they may be to your price. Okay, I just want to go back to one thing here, and it's specifically on this Hilux case. So I ordered a case of Hilux beverage. And now, of course, this started a student at a college, university, and he developed it in an entrepreneurial program, very similar to what you're doing right now. It's an interesting case study, and I thought, let me try the product to see how it is. So I ordered a case, but I did not like how I was treated. First of all, they would not let me know when my case of beverages would arrive. And that would be very important to me because if it arrives when I'm not here, it may be sitting on my front porch baking in the sun because I have a southern exposure of the front of my house and would just be sitting out there baking for maybe many hours. So I wanted to know what time will my product arrive. And I was not given an email, even though they asked for my email address, but I got a text message instead. And the text message did not give me any way to communicate with the company. And so I was a bit miffed at that, something that you may want to consider when you're communicating with your customers as well. Okay, so now I want to go over some key terms in distribution. So here we're focusing on distribution here. White labeling. Labeling is when a merchant uses their own brand to resale to the end customer. For instance, here we have Southwest on a Visa card. So Southwest does not manufacture the Visa card. They don't handle payments with Southwest, knowing Southwest. Also here for the Dollar Shave Club, Dollar Shave Club does not manufacture razors, the packaging or anything. What they do is they put it all together and they sell that completed product. And that is called white labeling. A private labeling. So here is an example here, like Best Buy has their own private label products in their store that they sell. I want to give you another example that might resonate a little bit better. My son was a distributor of oil-based lubricants in Germany, and his market was Eastern Europe. He would sell and visit Eastern European countries to sell private label of that particular oil-based product. So his company would put the name of the company that he was selling to on the label. They would actually put the label on for them and sell it to them ahead of time. So when they received the oil in its own separate packages, it was ready to go and they could put it on the market. This was a very nice type of private labeling that was made available to their customer base. Now, that was a B2B company, right? So they're not the end product user. They are still reselling that oil to the end user. Now, certainly we can sell through online marketplaces. We know there are many, and some are really niche products, you know, like Newegg. SD is sort of nichey. Wayfair is has expanded quite a bit, and eBay is huge. And of course, Amazon, well, they sort of roll. But, you know, we want to think about what type of online marketplace is available for us for that closely resembles a niche product for us. There's always Amazon. And when we look at the top online retailers here from 2021, I just updated this. And of course, we don't have real current figures. This was the most current I could find. Amazon leading the pack, of course, we would expect that. eBay was actually considered more profitable if you're selling your product on eBay as opposed to Amazon or some of the others in here. You can see some, you know, Pushmark, SD, Ruby Lane, so forth and so on. I think Craigslist has kind of fallen off. Facebook Marketplace has become a bit more popular over time now and over the past couple of years. And then we have, you know, specific other areas as well that we can take a look at, and it helps us with as a resource for where we plan to sell our products, or the business that you're working with in suggestions on how they can improve their distribution. Amazon, of course, one of the lead, and they do have a good model as well as charging hefty fees. Here, typically the average is 15% of the sale price when they're selling a product for you. Some go as high as 45%, depending on some of the device accessories. But the average is 15%. Some smaller items, cameras and photos, are a bit less, 8%. But you can pretty much say, now my son and daughter-in-law have a business. They sell dino bars, and it's a snack bar for young children. They're charging 15%. So most products on Amazon are the 15% fee, referral fee. And they call it a referral fee, which is an unusual name for it because you are just selling it on their website. All right, so yes, we can see this is pretty major, but typically 15% is the usual. Now, they also have Amazon for distribution. So in that particular case, you're selling your products, you're sending your products to Amazon, not selling them to them, but sending it to them, and then they sell it for you. And then we have an Amazon fee, 15% on top of that. We need to take into consideration the monthly professional selling plan. There's a fee that you have to pay if you're using Amazon for distribution. It's approximately $40 a month. So how does it work? Product or many products to Amazon, they warehouse it for you. So you don't have to handle it. You don't have to warehouse it and have it in inventory. They're holding it in inventory. They reach out to the customer purchases directly from Amazon. They package and ship it directly to the customer. So you're hands off as soon as you've sent it to them. However, we have some caveats that we need to consider. Maybe some pricing conflicts. Here in this particular case, Nest is offering their thermostat, the wireless thermostat, for $280, right? I think it has some other features that go with it for that price, but Amazon is selling it for $208. And that is a bit of a dilemma. When we send our product for distribution through Amazon, they are in control of the price. We are not any longer. So what can we do in that scenario? Sometimes it's okay because without the Amazon distribution, we may not be selling that product to that customer because they wouldn't have found us on our website and our avenues or channels. So that might be beneficial for us. But let's look a little further. Want to plan ahead for those conflicts. What might we do? In this particular case here, we're looking at, let's say we have a $10 sale. We're making it simple. One item sells for $10, bottle of wine. We sell a bottle of wine for $10. It costs us $1. Probably costs us more than $1. But let's just say cost of goods, $1, gross profit, $9 on every unit sold. So what can we do if we're working with, let's change to Walmart this time. We'll go with Walmart. And, but this is what we're selling on our website. How are we going to sell to Walmart? They're not going to pay $10. They are going to pay half of that, $5. We still have our $1 cost of goods. So our gross profit is $4, right? So yes, we are earning, 80% of the $5 sale. But what happens is Walmart takes our product, again, similar to Amazon, and sells it for $8.50. Their cost of good was $5 cost of goods, so they're earning $3.50. So they're happy with that. We may not be quite as happy if we're trying to sell our product for $10, Walmart selling it for $8.50. This is really not a good scenario. It's unrealistic, right? That we would want to do that. Instead, a more realistic scenario is that we sell our product for $8.50, which is comparable to what Walmart would sell it for. And we're still earning a good gross profit. In this case, we're still earning more, 88%, compared to the 80% of what we were earning. But this is a percentage, it's not hard dollars, right? So dollars are different than percentage, but still we take into consideration our percentage of the sale. Then we have software distribution channel app, we have Google Play, Google App, Apple Store for selling. We are finding more and more business now, even brick and mortar businesses will include an app with their business as part of their business and not the sole business. And that is something worth considering.